Good afternoon and welcome to SAIT Newsfile. I'm Gates Gorin. Michael Quass will have a look at all the sports highlights later on in the show. What's happening in the sports world here, Mike?
We had a very busy weekend this weekend. Tom Brady announced his retirement. An old coach for the SAIT Trojans got inducted to the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame, and the Calgary Flames are in action in Dallas tonight.
Wow, lots of big news there. Can't wait to see what's going on. Melissa Nolasco's outside braving the cold. How's it feeling out there, Melissa?
Well, Gates, it's good you're in the studio as it's freezing out here and continues to snow. We'll have a record high of minus 13 degrees today, unlike last year when it was at 9 degrees. A lot of us probably want to be in 1906 as they have a record high of 14.4. At least we're not living in 1893 when the record was minus 42.2. I'll have more details on the weather later at SAIT Newsfile. Gates?
Thanks, Melissa. Now let's have a look at today's top stories. The trial for a man accused of the hit-and-run death of a Calgary police sergeant is set to begin today. The man, who was 17 at the time and cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, pleaded not guilty to the first-degree murder of Sergeant Andrew Harnett on December 31st, 2020. Crown prosecutors rejected the man's initial guilty plea to the lesser charge of manslaughter. The passenger in the SUV was found guilty of manslaughter and has already been sentenced to 5 years in prison. Well, the trucker blockade at the Coots border crossing in southern Alberta has now entered its 4th day. A number of freight trucks and other vehicles have been blocking the border entryway since Saturday to protest the current COVID-19 restrictions. Alberta RCMP have been trying to negotiate with protesters to no avail. RCMP now say the protest is no longer lawful, and police are beginning the process to tow away vehicles and make arrests. Premier Jason Kenney has said it's up to local authorities to enforce legislation. The pandemic has forced many businesses to strategize how to minimize overhead costs. Some businesses have resorted to vacating office spaces and working from home. But, as Cami Mariag reports, new data shows more office spaces are now rented rather than staying empty.
It's been a tough couple of years for commercial real estate in Calgary. The decline in oil prices and the pandemic added up to record vacancy rates. But that tide is turning. The last quarter of 2021 saw 29.7% in vacancy rate, down from 29.9% in the third quarter. This means many things, including businesses now having plans to commit to leases and businesses expanding.
We adjusted to the reality of the pandemic. Some of us started coming back into the office a little bit, but it is a lot more fluid than it used to be. There's a whole lot more flexibility in terms of being able to work from home and in remote locations.
Rent prices have also fallen because of the pandemic, and many businesses used this opportunity to move to higher quality office spaces. Calgary Economic Development is one of the sectors currently working on a strategy called Calgary in the New Economy.
The idea is to take the vacant C-class office stock and convert it to something we need within our downtown. So residential is the first that comes to mind.
The overall plan has a $200 million budget, with $45 million intended for office conversion, office replacement, and new residential development.
The diversification of our economy, Calgary in the New Economy and the 4 foundational pillars of talent, innovation, place, and business environment all drive outward investment, all drive investment from outside Calgary to consider moving to Calgary.
Calgarians can expect to see a brighter downtown area with different infrastructures and diverse businesses within the next 15 years. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Cami Mariag.
The Canadian economy was showing signs of growth late last year before the rise of the Omicron variant. Prior to cases rising last November, Statistics Canada says the real gross domestic product rose 0.06%. This marked the 6th straight month of continual growth in the country, which saw expansion rise above pre-pandemic levels. The hospitality industry saw significant growth when restrictions were loosened, and wholesale trading had its largest gain since July of 2020. The Bank of Canada did stress growth would slow due to the spike in COVID cases. The leadership of federal Conservative Party leader Erin O'Toole will be voted on by MPs tomorrow. The leadership review comes off the heels of the party failing to win the most recent federal election. Around 30% of the Conservative caucus signed a petition requesting a review of the current party leadership. O'Toole responded to the petition on Monday, tweeting he will accept the result of the pending vote. If he were to lose the vote, the Conservative caucus will have gone through 3 leaders over the last 6 years. Well, frontline hospital staff have been an essential factor in fighting against COVID-19 the past 2 years. Nurses are constantly adapting to new COVID protocols, and student nurses are being called into hospitals to assist with staffing shortages. Alana Bender has more.
Doctors and nurses are feeling strain on the healthcare system and are more burnt out now than ever before.
It definitely has been challenging for both myself and my colleagues.
For nurses like Cassidy Neal, it's been a true ordeal trying to manage the demand for healthcare workers when there is not enough staff to accommodate for patients.
We have unfortunately seen a lot of people who've left to go completely out of the healthcare industry to other jobs, or just take stress leaves, time off, that sort of thing, or just go work somewhere else completely.
Student nurses are being utilized in hospitals and immunization clinics to help out with staffing shortages and to get up to speed with what the healthcare industry is now.
I graduate in June of 2023, so I'm coming up on my last year now. I am actually pretty excited to enter the field of nursing. I'm hoping that it does evolve a little bit in the next year and a half from where we currently are.
Nursing students are thankful that they have the opportunity to complete their clinical practicums within hospitals to get real-life experience, but the overwhelming amount of patients coming into hospitals due to COVID-19 is stressful.
Especially within the nursing program, I'm finding there is a lot of burnout in students already, which is really unfortunate because we are the new workforce that's entering the nursing profession, and already before we put 2 toes in, a lot of people are feeling like they can't do it and that they're burnt out.
Due to the shortage in hospital staff, regular nurses are being forced to work in the intensive care units, even if they've never worked there before.
Susan RN has been dealing with patient loads between 8 to 10 patients, as high as 12 patients, which is extremely high and should not happen, period, because that's when things start to go wrong.
When testing positive for COVID-19, make sure to follow Alberta Health's guidelines by isolating for 5 days or until symptoms are gone. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Alana Bender.
Alberta's top doctor has granted mask exemptions to several schools across the province. Dr. Dina Hinshaw says 14 schools have been given a pass on masks, but these exemptions will come with certain conditions which these schools must adhere by, including an alternate plan which allows for proper social distancing when indoors. Schools will have to go through Alberta Health if it wishes to apply for an exemption. However, it is unclear what criteria a school must meet in order to be eligible. The 14 schools cannot be named due to concerns over privacy. The province has released its COVID numbers from this past weekend. While the ICU has seen its numbers decline, hospitalizations increased by 20 to 1,516 admissions. The positivity rate is still quite high, hovering around 33% of those tested. Active cases now sit around 37,500 as cases continue to drop. The actual number of cases may actually be higher, with PCR testing being restricted province-wide. Alberta Health says it will be sending rapid test kits out to Calgary, Edmonton, and Red Deer. First Nations communities and several AHS locations will also be receiving test kits. Both Premier Jason Kenney and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Dina Hinshaw are expected to speak today during the province's weekly COVID update. Well, the fatigued healthcare system in Alberta has only worsened since the arrival of Omicron. Emergencies related to the COVID-19 pandemic have driven the numbers of 911 calls up by 30% over the past few months. Megan Cobb is covering the story for us and joins us live from the newsroom. Megan, what can you tell us about this potentially dangerous situation?
Well, Gates, the increase in 911 calls caused the number of red alerts in the province to skyrocket. A red alert is when there aren't enough ambulances available to respond to emergencies. Alberta Health Services says it will be more diligent in the way it manages staff in the future. Scott Krause reports.
EMS are not treated that way. They're not paid for the amount of stress that they have to go through. They're not supplied with it. We don't have a shortage of ambulances. We have a shortage of people who aren't burnt out and who are staying with it.
The ambulance shortage has caused AHS to announce a red alert nearly every 90 minutes and is linked to staff shortages in hospitals because ambulances need to transport patients between facilities. Current AHS province-wide dispatch system says the closest ambulance has to go to the incident, regardless of the status of the patient. Between August 1st, 2021 and December 6th, 2021, Calgary and Edmonton reported a total of 2,276 red alerts, which equals 17 red alerts per day, opposed to 2020 when there was 9 per day.
In August, I was really stressed out because my partner was having like seizure-like symptoms, and he had an episode in our living room. So when I called the ambulance, they said they were on their way, but they took like over 30 minutes or so to get there, and like he was unconscious for a part of it, so I was really scared. And when they got there, they definitely seemed a little stressed out. Like the ambulance worker didn't really want to ask me anything.
Across Alberta, paramedics and healthcare professionals are advocating for ambulances to stay in the community they are stationed to instead of being called to other locations such as Calgary.
AHS has already started work on the 10-point plan they revealed last month. By transferring non-emergency calls to other agencies and by not sending ambulances to non-injury crashes. Gates?
Hopefully we'll see those changes in the near future. Thanks, Megan. That was Megan Cobb reporting live from the newsroom. The SAIT Student Association represents over 15,000 students at SAIT and all levels of government, advocating for everything from the UPass to tuition rates. SAITSA is run by a board of directors that is elected by the student body, and that election is coming up. Megan Cobb has more.
Most SAIT students are familiar with SAITSA, but what they might not know is the organization's main goal is to provide a voice for those coming to campus.
They don't just provide like fun games for us or activities to do. They really look out for our best interest as students.
SAITSA runs campus services like the Gateway, Odyssey Cafe, and the Station, but it also provides programming and resources designed to meet students' unique needs and interests.
They're there to sort of help make our lives easier as students.
More helpful resources, it would be really nice to have them.
It's important to hear from the students and to have like a voice for people that are going to the campus and taking lessons and going to school.
SAITSA is run by a board of directors that is elected by students every winter semester and serves year-long terms starting in May. This year's election is being held on March 23rd and 24th, but the nomination period for candidates opens next week, and all students are encouraged to throw their name into the ring.
If you think you have a voice or you have an impact of something you're passionate about, just do it, make that difference, because I promise you'll make that impact will be made on students.
Candidates are expected to build a platform on the 4 guiding principles of equality, fairness, student interest, and transparency. Once the nomination is accepted, the campaigning begins. The SAITSA Board of Directors represents the student body and sets the advocacy agenda for the year. So casting a ballot is the perfect way for SAIT students to have their voices heard.
If I'm on campus, definitely I'll vote.
This is my first year at SAIT, so it'll be my first time, I guess, at SAIT, but I do vote whenever possible.
I have to do a little bit more research on it, I would say, and get more knowledgeable on it, and I'll think about voting.
For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Megan Cobb.
Those are today's top stories. Melissa and Alaska will have your full forecast after the break. But first, Stacey Hine has a look at what's going on around town this week.
Tax season is approaching, but don't worry yet. Students can get their taxes filed for free by certified CRA volunteers. For more details, check out SAITSA's info session tomorrow at 1. To honor Black History Month, SAIT's Inclusion Council is hosting a panel discussion over the documentary Journey to Justice. The film showcases 6 Black Canadians who stood up against racism, segregation, and inequality. If your job's a joke, you're broke, and your love life's DOA, Friends the Musical will be there for you. The performance is a parody on the hit 90s sitcom Friends. Show starts at 7:30 this Friday. If you're looking for a musical geared towards kids, tickets for Disney's Descendants are now on sale. The performance takes place next week at the Bridgington Theatre. If you think you have a refined palate, the Oak Ridge Co-op is hosting Guess the Expensive Wine. Calgarians will do a blind taste test of wine through a range of wines at different price points. There's a prize for the top scorer.
Well, February definitely didn't give us a warm welcome today as the Arctic air returns to Canada, starting by the west side. If you look here, Edmonton, Regina, and Winnipeg are in the minus double digits right now. Now that's because the Arctic air is coming in here. That's why Vancouver is not that affected. Well, the most impacted one is Winnipeg. They even have a blizzard warning. Now this Arctic air is like surging right now and then retreating back again and in and out. And then it slowly goes into the eastern part of the country. Now, and that's why this temperature is not as bad. And also because they're borrowing some warmer air from the Atlantic region. Now, that once this cold air and warm air collides, these cities might experience some floods and storms. Now, speaking of warm weather, that's definitely we can find down south. Now, let's look at our resorts.
It's a great day to enjoy those outdoor activities. Hit up the hiking trails in Palm Springs and go snorkeling in Barbados as the sun shines brightly. Get a good tan at the beach as Cancun and Honolulu will have clouds hovering to lessen the heat. A sunny day also awaits those who are going to Disneyland and the Grand Canyon.
In Calgary today, it's feeling like minus 25 degrees, although we're just sitting at minus 14 right now because of the wind coming from the north with 20 kilometers per hour. Now, snow is still falling around the city, but it will later wrap up and give us cloudy conditions as we go through the night. Now, make sure you cover up and prevent those frost bites, okay? Now, looking at around the province, it's cold overall. Now, that's because the north brings the wind down south, and that's what brings us snow we've seen this morning. Now, that's why this upper city is now experiencing a little bit of sunshine, while this down south might experience like 2 to 4 centimeters of snow overnight. Now, let's look at our 5-day forecast. Tonight, the temperatures continue to drop, although tomorrow it might be sunny, but there's not much difference with our temperature. Although Thursday, it's starting to slowly clear up, and temperatures are slowly warming up. And now, that's why we could look forward to Friday, although it might be a gloomy day. I mean, it's still positive temperature, and that's what we want, right? Now, there's going to be a sports with Michael after the break.
I had it so good. I had my own car, great grades, everything in my life was going great till I ruined it all. Little did I know, this would be my greatest mistake. Drunk driving. Lawyer fees, disappointed parents, lost car, if only I listened.
Hey, you aren't good to drive home.
Friends don't let friends drink and drive.
Come and learn the breaking world of broadcast news. Find your passion to investigate, write, shoot, edit, and deliver the stories of the day. SAIT's broadcast news program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in radio and television. Become the next great anchor, reporter, or personality using industry standard technology alongside qualified instructors with years of experience. This is broadcast news. Come and dare to be on air.
Welcome back to SAIT Newsfile. Michael Kloss joins us now for a look at the latest highlights. Well, Mike, it was quite a weekend if you were a sports fan, hey?
Yeah, this weekend we saw a little bit of everything. Virtually every sport in the world, minus baseball, was in action this week. But we're going to start off at SAIT first.
Can't wait.
One of the top Canadian college hockey coaches ever is getting recognized in this year's Alberta Sports Hall of Fame. Former SAIT Trojans men's hockey coach Ken Babby is among 13 inducted this year. Babby spent 27 years as head coach of the men's hockey team from 1987 to 2014. When he finished his career, he was the winningest coach in Canadian post-secondary hockey history with 534 wins. Babby led SAIT to 9 ACAC championships, as well as 1 Canadian College Athletic Association national championship in 2000. And he served as SAIT's athletic director from 1997 to 2004. Babby has now taken on a new challenge of coaching the Canadian national sledge hockey team. They are going to be in Beijing from March 5th to 13th competing for the 2022 Paralympics in Beijing, China. The Flames have had a real up and down first month of the new year. The Flames have a quick 2-game road trip starting tonight in Dallas. There has been some inconsistent plays from the team as they have gone and blown out teams one night and then get blown out the next. A positive for the Flames is they have been firing shots on net as of late. 171 shots in the last 4 games, scoring 15 times in that span. This is the second meeting of the year against the Stars, but the Flames fell short 4-3 in overtime in that meeting. The Flames are 3-2 in their last 5 games, while the Stars are finding their winning ways, going 4-1. Johnny Gaudreau is named 3rd Star of the Week for his amazing performance as of late. He has scored 2 goals, 6 assists in 4 games, including the game winner Saturday night against the Vancouver Canucks. There's a full slate of hockey tonight with 10 games on the schedule. The Seattle Kraken make their way to Boston to take on the streaking Bruins. The Sharks travel to Tampa Bay to battle the defending champs. The Maple Leafs are looking to make it 5 in a row tonight in a second of back-to-back with the New Jersey Devils. The Panthers look to keep rolling as they challenge the Rangers at MSG. The Jets are also looking to find some consistent play tonight as they take on the Flyers. Another installment of the Ovi versus Crosby battle takes place in Pittsburgh tonight, and a battle of two desperate teams between the Senators and the Islanders looking for a win. And the Avalanche look to make it 19 straight home wins tonight against the Coyotes. And finally, the night's wrapped up with the Golden Knights looking to rebound against the Sabres. The Calgary Canucks were dealt a tough loss Sunday from Drayton Valley. It's a very quick turnaround for the team as they're back in action tonight in Drumheller. On Sunday, the Canucks blew a 4-1 lead in the final 2 minutes of the game and lost in overtime. The Canucks have had a tough season but are still in a close spot for a playoff bid. Justin Barker has carried the load for the offense for the Canucks with 40 points and 17 goals. Goaltending has been an issue for most of the season as they had to rely on rookie goalie Ian Mills to take on the role that most rookie goalies wouldn't get in the league, but the Canucks made a move at the deadline to bring back veteran goalie from the WHL, Connor Martin, to take the workload off youngster Mills. The Canucks have 10 games left in the season and have 11 points lead in the last playoff spot over the Olds Grizzlies. The Canucks are sitting in the final playoff spot with an 11-32-6 record, which is 7th place in the Viterra South Division, while the Dragons have lost 2 straight to end the month of January, and the Dragons are 24-16-8 and sit in 3rd place in the Viterra Division. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. tonight in Drumheller. Canada's men's soccer team is 1 win away from clinching a spot in the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, which they have not accomplished since 1986. The Canadians took a massive 4 points by beating the U.S. on Sunday in Hamilton. Canada is sitting in tops of the CONCACAF qualifying standings with a record of 6-0-4 with 22 points. The U.S. is second with 18 points. Canada can clinch a win over El Salvador, with a few other outcomes on Wednesday. Canada has traveled to El Salvador today for the game on Wednesday night. Canada beat El Salvador back in 3-0 back at BMO Field in September. The Canadians are currently ranked 40th in the world, and Alphonso Davies won't be traveling with the team as he's still recovering from his myocarditis, which he had when he tested positive for COVID-19. And the time has come for the greatest quarterback in football to hang up his cleats. Tom Brady has officially announced his retirement this morning on Instagram. It's hard to find a stat that he doesn't hold a record for in the books. He was drafted 199th overall by the New England Patriots in 2000. He went on to win 7 Super Bowls between the Patriots and the Buccaneers, which also has more wins than any franchise in the league. But his 35 playoff wins are more than 29 active franchises, and he has all 82 records in the NFL, which makes it hands down the greatest player to ever play the game. So now the debates can start if he's the greatest of all time. And Grand Prairie's chuck wagon legend, the King, Kelly Sutherland, is heading to the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame. Kelly was the youngest driver to win the Rangeline Derby at 22 years of age. Sutherland raced for 50 years. 45 years he was a competitor at the Rangeline Derby in Calgary. Sutherland won the aggregate 6 times at the Stampede. He made the Dash for Cash final 21 times with 12 championships at the Stampede and 12 national championships. Kelly joins fellow chuck wagon drivers Dick Cosgrave, Ron and Tom Glass, and George Norman in the Hall of Fame. Sutherland stepped away from racing back in 2017. The Sutherland family name, though, you will continue to hear it on the track with his brother Rick and sons Mitch and Mark still racing, and his grandsons Dayton and Tuff are racing wagons as well. And that's a look at sports. Now back to you, Gates.
Well, that's some crazy news about Tom Brady. As much as I don't really like the guy, I do respect him for sure.
We can't argue the numbers, right?
Absolutely. Well, there's lots to talk about in the entertainment world. Stacey Hine has her finger on the pulse with all that's happening. We'll take a look with that after the break. Stay with us.
You don't want this to be your last memory. Think before you drink. A message from Mad Canada.
Come and learn the fast-paced world of television production. Find your passion to write, shoot, edit, and direct news, sports, and dramatic productions. With industry-standard technology and the best instructors in the business, SAIT's television production program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in broadcasting. This is television production. Come and dare to be on air.
Well, there's tons to talk about in the entertainment world. Stacey Hine has her finger on the pulse with all that's happening. Stacey, what can you tell us?
Well, Gates, the entertainment world is spinning, but restrictions may put a stop to it. Many local performances have been cancelled because of the public health measures. Fans were upset when they heard an upcoming Eric Nam concert was cancelled due to restrictions. Nam was supposed to perform at Calgary's McEwen Hall this Saturday, but the venue did not meet capacity under the new health measures. The 33-year-old performer is a popular Korean pop singer. Nam's concert has been extended to 3 nights in Vancouver to accompany for the 1/3 capacity. Some Calgary fans are hoping the tickets will transfer over to the Vancouver location. So far, it just looks like the ticket holders will get a refund instead. The trendy indie pop band called the Beths were set to perform Wednesday night, but was also cancelled. The New Zealand band is currently touring 14 countries, including Canada, the US, and the UK. The Beths are going to perform at the Commonwealth Stage and Bar, but the capacity and restrictions posed a threat. Lead singer Elizabeth Strokes thanks Canadian fans for their patience and apologizes for the cancellation. The band's tour also lost its headliner, The Weekend Friends. The rumors are confirmed Rihanna is pregnant, and Twitter has gone crazy over the news. Fans were delighted to hear about the 33-year-old's pregnancy after months of speculation. Photos of her exposed baby bump took the internet by storm. The singer and fashion mogul met with a lot of congratulations, and some fans say they took inspiration and may get pregnant themselves. The infamous photo also shows future father, popular rapper A$AP Rocky. The two were first seen together at the Met Gala a few months prior. Sad news from the pageantry world. Chelsea Christ, the 2019 Miss USA winner, has died. The 30-year-old correspondent for the entertainment program Extra died from an apparent suicide. The program offered its condolences over social media with the message, "Our hearts are broken." Chris' Miss USA win broke barriers as the winners of Miss USA, Miss America, and Miss Team USA were all Black women. When crowned the winner, Chris said, "The win shed light on inclusivity, diversity, strength, and empowered women." And that's a look at the latest entertainment news. Back to you, Gates.
Thanks, Stacey. Can't wait to see what next week has in store in Hollywood. Well, gardening and keeping plants are both popular hobbies, but what are the benefits of these hobbies aside from beautifying a space? Adion Vandenberg has more on the subject and ponders the age-old question, how do you keep your plants from dying?
Year-round, people seek to spend time in nature and reap its benefits, as research has shown there are many, and there are similar benefits to bringing nature into your home.
So the benefits of keeping plants in your home, there's all kinds of things. I was studying a little thing called biophilia, and basically it's just talking about how nature can be very calming, so how it has really good mental benefits.
It's been shown that they actually reduce stress and anxiety when they're even in a room where you're using a computer or in your bedroom or in your home. They filter and clean your air.
The best part is that you can reap these benefits even if you don't have much of a green thumb. Taking good care of your plants doesn't have to be an ordeal, and there are a few simple ways you can ensure that your plants are thriving.
My general instruction is check your plants every week. Make sure there's a hole in the bottom of your pot so water can drain out. Always check your plants.
And then you throw to Melissa, and then you come back. Oh. So, yeah, I mean, taking care of plants, kind of tough, hey, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, to be very honest with you. Really not very good. Melissa, you have the 5-day for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still gonna be cold, but then we can expect warmer temperatures ahead the weekend, okay?
Perfect. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Gates Gorin.